Hi everybody at home, just a quick introduction to the Year 4 maths for next week. On each slide I will talk you through the lesson and the activity for each day next week, but remember, don't use the images that I've put on the PowerPoint here. The pictures of the activity sheets are far too small for you to use. They're all available as a PDF on the website, so download them there and they'll all be there in full size and much clearer to view and to see. The pictures that I've just snipped onto the screen on the PowerPoint are just so that you can make sure you've got the right sheet, but don't use them on there. Good luck with this week's work. Hi everybody at home. So for Monday's lesson you have unfortunately got 3 activity sheets, and this is simply because of the space needed on the sheets for the pictures and the images that you need. And on Monday we'll be learning to recognise the place value of each digit in a 4-digit number. So I've given you some pictures of deans which we would be using in school. The little dean like this is worth 1 and it represents the ones column. The 10 stick represents 10 ones and it represents the tens column. The square represents 100, representing the hundreds column. And finally the cube represents 1,000 because there is 1,000 of those little cubes in there. So on the first activity sheet you've got 4 questions, some of which use the images of the deans, and you need to work out which number is represented. I've given an example question for you. The example has 2 of these, which therefore represents 2,000. It has 4 of these, which represents 400. It has 1 10 stick, which represents a 10, and it has none of these, so therefore the number is 2,410. Then you need to complete the same for question 1, 2 and 3. I would like you to not only write the number that it represents, but also partition that up into thousands, hundreds, tens and ones, as I have done in the example. Question 4 says, which one is the odd one out, and can you explain why? On the second sheet, again, there are some images of the deans which will help your understanding, and there is also a place value grid. This time there are counters in the place value grid to represent the number, and again I have given you an example. There are 4 of these representing 4,000, 1 of these representing 100, there are 4 of these representing 40, and there are 7 of these representing 7 ones. So therefore your number is 4,147. On the place value grid, I've again represented this using counters. So there are 4 circles in the thousands, 1 circle in the hundreds, 4 in the tens and 7 ones, again representing 4,147. Question 5 and question 6 requires you to do the same, but I have changed the questions up slightly so that you have to fill in the missing blanks. On sheet 3, question 7, spot the mistake. It's very similar to the second sheet in that you have got the images of the deans and the image of the place value grid, but you need to spot what mistake I have made. And at the end, question 9, there's a challenge for you. Some place value counters have been hidden. The total of all of my place value counters is 6,432. Which place value counters are hidden? And there are many possibilities for that. I wonder how many you can find. On Tuesday, you're going to be ordering and comparing numbers which are larger than 1,000. So, for your independent task, you've been given the height of 8 different mountains. And I've given you an example because you're going to be writing inequalities for each statement. The example says, Mont Blanc is taller than Mount Elbrus. That is false because Mont Blanc is 4,810 metres, whereas Mount Elbrus is 5,642 metres. Therefore, you can write the inequality of 4,810 is less than 5,642. Question 1 says Mont Blanc is taller than Mulhaken. You need to decide if that is true or if that is false, and then write me an inequality using the less than and greater than symbols. You can either write it as blank is less than blank or blank is greater than blank. I'd really like it if you wrote both. For question 9, you have to order all 8 of the mountains in ascending order. That is from smallest to tallest. And question 10 is a bit of a challenge. I'm thinking of a number. It's greater than 3,000 but smaller than 5,000. The digits add up to 15. What could it be and how many possibilities are there? So for that, we want the digits in the thousands, the hundreds, the tens and the ones to add up to 15. On Wednesday, we're going to be building on Tuesday's work by ordering and comparing numbers beyond 1,000 again. So for your independent task, question 1 says, here are 4 digit cards. Arrange them to make as many different 4-digit numbers as you can. I'm going to start off keeping the 4 and the 0 where they are and the 5 and the 3 where they are. That gives me 4,053. I'm writing that number down. Then I'm going to keep the 4 and the 0 where they are, but switch my 3 and my 5. That gives me 4,035. Now I'm still going to keep the 4 where it is, but I'm going to move the 0 and I'm going to put the 5 in the hundreds column. That will give me 4,503. And I'm writing that down. Notice how I'm working systematically. I'm not just putting the numbers in random places to generate random numbers. I'm working with a system. I'm working logically and with an order. Once you've made as many different 4-digit numbers as you can with your list of numbers, I want to see if you can order them in ascending order, starting with the smallest going up to the biggest. Question 2. Explain the mistake. I've given a number line, but there's a problem. One of the numbers is on there incorrectly. Can you spot which number it is? Question 3. There's a place value grid with thousands, hundreds, tens and ones. You need to add a digit to the missing boxes to ensure that the numbers are ordered from smallest going down to the largest. Think what number could go in the tens box first of all. There might be one possibility. There might be more than one possibility. And finally, there's a challenge. Lola has ordered 5 4-digit numbers. The smallest number is 3,450 and the largest is 3,650. All the other numbers have digit totals of 20. So the thousands, hundreds, tens and ones digits have to add up to 20. What could the other 3 numbers be? On Thursday, you're going to be finding 10, 100 or 1,000 more or less than a given number. So if you do now, I want you to choose some numbers and either add or subtract 10, add or subtract 100 and add or subtract 1,000 and see what you notice. If you add 10 to a number, which column changes? Is there only one column that changes? If you subtract 10 from a given number, is there only one column that changes or is there more? When you play around with a few examples, you might notice something. Now remember, adding and subtracting 10, 100 and 1,000 should always be done mentally. Have a little play and see what you notice. Then, for your independent task, you've got a couple of different questions. Number 1 has got 3 parts to it, A, B and C. We've worked on something similar in school last week. Question 2, again, complete the table. What's 1,000 less than the number represented in the middle with Dean's? And what's 1,000 more? You can write the number in digits, or if you wish to, you could draw the number using either place value counters or Dean's. Ideally, I'd like you to do all 3. Write the number in digits, draw it using Dean's, draw it using place value counters. Number 3, Henry is thinking about when he adds 1,000. He says, when I add 1,000 to 4,325, I only have to change one column. Is he right or is he wrong? This links back to your do now and what you explored with the numbers there. Number 4, filling the missing numbers in the coloured boxes. Notice the patterns. Study the numbers carefully, looking at which columns are the same and which columns are different. And finally, number 5. I'm thinking of a number. 10 less than my number is 1,000 more than 5,300. It's a hard one, this one. You might have to repeat it to yourself several times. Hi everybody, for today's lesson, it's a consolidation lesson, recapping everything that we've learned on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. This activity sheet has got 10 questions and it's all focusing on the place value of numbers within 1,000. There are some questions that involve Dean's and the pictures there where you have to fill in the blanks. There are some questions that involve part whole models and place value counters. There are some where you have to fill in the missing boxes. If you've worked hard all week, you'll find this one a breeze. Good luck!